My man Rick Dhillon, man, thank you for coming through. Appreciate you making the time, man. I know you're busy guy. You got lots of things going on, and lots of things in the works. So appreciate you taking the time to come through.
100, bro.
EXP rally yesterday. So how was that? How did that go?
Man, like that EXP rally was phenomenal.
Yeah?
You know, anytime like something happens for the first time, you're like, I don't know how it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Because I was emceeing the event, I was reading the agenda, I was like, okay, is this gonna be, bro, it was fire.
It was fire.
Yeah, because the energy in that room is just amazing. That's one thing. Like, so there was an EXP con in Canada,
Yeah.
in Vancouver, which I attended to. I was also skeptical about that, right? Because the people in the States throw it really big.
Yeah.
But I would argue it's up there, if not even better. Smaller for now, but the venue, it's the energy in these rooms, man. It just hits different, dude.
It's different.
It hits different because I've been to other rallies and events at different brokerages. They're good too. It's just different when everybody in that room is an owner. Everybody in that room is an owner. You've been to that. It's just, and the stories people share.
Yeah.
You know, it's phenomenal, bro. And the collaboration. I was sitting with Elizabeth Riley, dude. If you don't know who Elizabeth Riley is the person that brought on Gene Frederick and Brent Gove into the company.
Wow.
Her organization is fire. It's huge.
Yeah.
12,000 people.
She must be like number one at that point. I didn't think there was any.
The most humblest, beautiful soul you ever meet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we have an organization, you know, about over 400 now.
Yeah.
Oh, she's like telling me how good and she has 12,000.
Yeah.
And she's like, hey, you know what? I've been where you were. You're gonna blow up. The tipping point in Canada is hitting how it was in the U.S. And it was just remarkable hearing their stories. And
Yeah.
Sean Getty was up there. I was emceeing. It was fun, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're calling it the EXP rallies, and they're doing a few of these kind of in
Yeah.
Canada, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. There's another one in Vancouver this week. Probably gonna fly out for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So when I go to these events, and EXPCon was one of the biggest ones that I went to in last year.
Yeah.
Before I even joined in, and I realized like there's so much going on, especially an event like that that's 3-4 days. But it's like you got to try to come out of that event with like 1 or 2 takeaways that you're gonna actually take action on.
Yeah.
So like, what was there something yesterday that you kind of saw with everything that was going on? I know you were emceeing, so you were kind of the one kicking it. But did you get anything from?
Hey, listen. I'm a student first.
Yeah,
Even though I was emceeing,
always.
I was giving advice. But my biggest takeaways I got from a business perspective. I learned something fire yesterday.
Share that.
Sean Getty was up there, and he was talking about how he does his social media. And one thing, I'll share it with you guys. One thing that he does is, if he has a good post of an amazing whatever it is, he'll put that post on his story. Okay? And then on that post, you can see who views that story through that eye, right?
Yeah.
And then he'll reach out to the people on that viewed his story, and he'd be like, hey, can you share this for me? That's how he's building his crazy social media following. I never thought about that.
That's smart.
So everyone's thinking about lead generation and paying for it. He's creating it for free. But the key is the post has to be of value.
Yeah.
And then you're reaching out for your network, people that know you, love you, care about you, that are rooting you on, and say, hey, can you share this for me? Let's say it's an awesome commercial property you want to sell.
Yeah.
Right? And you know it's good value.
Yeah.
Not just, I wouldn't do just anything.
Yeah.
But let's say you have an awesome property that you just posted.
Yeah.
And you put it on your story. And you view it on my story. And then I
Yeah.
reach out to you, Roberts, man, this property is pretty solid.
Yeah.
Can you share it for me?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was
That's
a huge
impactful,
takeaway.
yeah. Because even if it is a commercial property, and let's say 5 commercial realtors saw it,
Yeah.
now you can ask them, and it all makes sense for them
Yeah.
to share it. They could reach their commercial network and give that listing so
Yeah.
much more exposure.
So I never thought about reaching out to the people
Yeah.
that viewed it.
That's smart.
That's
you don't
smart.
realize how the algorithm works, but like people will take screenshots of stuff,
Yeah, yeah.
and that impacts how like the platform will push the content. So if a lot of people are taking screenshots of a post, of
Yeah.
a story, even, it's like now Instagram knows, oh, people are taking screenshots, they're interested in this. If they're sharing it, it's gonna push it to many, like that. It's gonna recommend it to that many more people.
That's the
so
stuff
all
I need
these
to
all
learn,
these
man.
things that, you know, if you ask like 5-10 people to share it, and now oh, 10 people shared this, they're gonna recommend it to thousands more, right? Because now they know this is good content.
Yeah.
So that's
little things, right?
Yeah.
And the other takeaway that I've been just getting recently in life, and you get little messages here and there. My kind of theme in the last couple of months has been like, it's okay to ask for help. You don't have to do everything alone. Because guys like us, the way we grew up, and like we always need to do, we always think that we need to do things ourselves.
Yeah.
But you also have to open that tap of receiving, man. Because if you don't open that tap of receiving, the universe wants to pour down on you, and you think you're this giver and helping everybody else. But if you don't ask for help and let the world help you, dude, you're making your life so hard.
It's true. And I completely kind of understand that and resonate with it, because that's kind of how like my life has been. It's like I always feel like, hey, I got to do it on my own. I don't want to ask people for help. I don't want to do that's kind of how I've been kind of wired for the longest time. But I think in the last couple of years, it's been like, wow, like just even doing this podcast and talking to people, I think I learned so much. And a lot of people will tell me like partnerships and collaboration. I kept hearing it. I'm like, damn, there's something that you get from networking and just from talking to people and learning and mentorship and stuff like that. I never really had, per se, like a mentor throughout my life and somebody to kind of, help me in different ways. A coach. I never had a coach. Even to this day, I haven't really ever tapped into a coach. It's kind of been like, I'm gonna do it my way, and I think that what happens is, and I think you can kind of relate to it, is like you just you make so many mistakes and you learn from them, and there's some value in all those experiences, but at the same time, it's like well,
you build tough skin, you build thick skin, and you build grit, right? So there is pros and cons to everything you do.
But you can literally save like a decade of your life in terms of just having somebody kind of guide you to make the right decisions. Like right now, if I was to sit down with an 18-year-old and say, hey, I can give them a little bit of a playbook to really, save them a little bit of time in terms of, you can probably get somewhere by 25 versus 35. You know what I mean?
1,000%. Yeah. How much can you help a new agent, right?
Yeah.
By telling them what you learned and don't make the mistakes that I did.
New agent, new entrepreneur, like real estate, how to invest, like what kind of property to buy is your first property, and to be able to make sure that you're setting yourself up for growth versus buying something and being stuck.
So when you kind of go to the root of what we were talking about in terms of not asking for help, it comes from individuals that have done everything themselves, which you said, but it's actually a block. Because for me, when I started really sitting with myself and really understanding why this is happening, as I peeled off the layers, it was a little voice say, who's gonna help me anyway? Because I'm so used to doing everything on my own. I'm not used to asking for help. So when you're not used to asking for help, it becomes a habit. So you gotta break that habit, right? So now I'm opposite. First I say, how can I help? Right? But I'm also okay, and this is just very recently, dude. I'm talking the last 10 months, less, where I'm like, okay, my wife taught me this lesson. You know how? Bro, she's like, so one of the things, if me and you are out to lunch and the bill comes, I gotta grab that bill, right? Because I don't want you to do anything for me. I want to do it for you, right? Which in my way, I was like, okay, that's a good thing to do, right? But when I first met my wife, she put it in my head, she goes, you don't let me show you love. She goes, sometimes I want to do things for you. And then my friends started telling me that. I say, hey, thanks for that, but how do I show you love? Maybe I want to do things for you. So then I really kind of dove down to that. I'm like, I'm blocking my receiving valve, right? Because like I said just a couple minutes ago, man, the universe wants to pour down on us. But if we never ask, like networking, connections, sometimes people put people in your sphere and you're supposed to network and see and collab. But if you're not asking for help, how are you going to collab?
It's true, and I can definitely relate to that. And I think I've probably had to learn through mistakes and lost a lot of opportunities by not having that kind of mindset. So I'm learning too, and I'm kind of getting to that space of we always talk about collaboration. Okay. at a put yourself good chat, good stuff. Put yourself back in 2010. Okay, you're 5 years in the game. Okay, it's Friday, whatever, noon.
Yeah.
Same time, same week.
Yeah.
Rick Dhillon, 5 years in the game.
Yeah.
Tell me where you at. What brokerage you at? What are you doing right now?
Yeah, 5 years in the game. Yeah, I got it. I got my. I can't remember if I got my license August 2004, but I didn't do anything for that 6 months. So 5 years in the game, I was crushing, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, not crushing to the level, like crushing to my level more than I thought I could ever do in life, right? Because I was that person that never really applied myself in a lot of things. When it came to school, when it came to like working a 9 to 5, I wasn't that person. So the first year was kind of tough for me in real estate, but by year 5, man, I was winning like the top awards, a rookie of the year and things like that. But I wasn't systemized.
Okay.
I was relying on skill. So I would be like, go to the gym, 10 a.m. back then, right? No morning routine. And I'd meet you at the gym. We'd start hitting it off. And you want to buy a house, I go buy a house for you, right? Just within my networks, I did a lot of business with people that I met at the gym. I was just really good at talking and vibing, but I didn't have a system, so my business was not repeatable or predictable. I was having like just, one night stands with everybody. I would do a deal with you and then we would lose touch and I'm like, where else am I gonna get my deal? So it was an intention that I wanted to do a lot of deals. So I think because I had that intention, I would visualize about it. I made it, I told the universe that I want it. I started doing a lot of deals, but I wasn't organized and I wasn't systemized.
Really?
No, man. And it wasn't until I learned how to be systemized and organized that deals just came naturally and I knew when they were coming.
And what brokerage were you at that point, roughly?
I believe I was C21, man.
Still there,
Yeah, I was C21. Yeah, I was at Central 21.
So it was more like free flowing, just connecting with
brokerage.
people.
Yeah.
You weren't like doing something specifically.
You want me to give you a word for it? Referrals by accident.
Really? Eh?
That's what it was.
That's it, eh?
Yeah.
That's it.
I would tell people like, when someone asks you, how do you get your business? If a coach would ask you, one of my real estate coaches, this is the first question they asked me, one of the first, right? When I finally got a real estate coach, they're like, hey, Rick, how do you get your business? And I go, I don't know. I go, referrals. That's what everybody that doesn't know how they get their business, they'll all say referrals. Yeah. But he didn't let me off the hook. Yeah. He's like, how do you get your referrals? I don't know. I'm at my aunt's house. She wants to sell a house. My friend calls me. So your referrals are calling you, he says. I'm like, yeah. He's like, you know what those are called, Rick? Those are called referrals by accident. I'm going to teach you a system where you're going to get referrals on purpose. Yeah. So I think a lot of good salespeople, bro, they're very good on the field, but they're not good at organizing in systems, and that's okay. So I think really delegating that area should be your first hire. Yeah.
I think that's a good point.
You're opposite, though.
That's opposite. That's what I'm saying.
You're good at
even
systems.
when we do like the team, and this is kind of, with Shoreview and our branding, and we're always kind of, this is how we position it is with the gradient and the O, and it's like the yin and yang. Yeah. Like the agent. Yeah. They got to be good with the communications. They got to be good with the networking, the collaboration, the going to the gym, talking to people, all that stuff. Yeah. But then the team is where they get the systems.
Yeah, you have that nailed down.
Yeah. So that's.
I could have used you back in the day.
Okay, so tell me about. I know you grew up in Mississauga, right?
Saga, yeah.
Yeah. Tell me about where like how what does that look like? Where'd you grow up?
Yeah, so I was actually originally I was born in Vancouver. My dad got transferred here for a job. I was like in grade 4 or 5. We lived in Rexdale for a bit. Yeah, so good old Rexdale. Yeah, for a little while. Apartment buildings, all that kind of fun stuff. It was a lot of fun, man. Like now when I tell people it's Rexdale, like I drive by those areas now, I'm like, damn, I grew up here. Yeah. But like you didn't notice it, right? It is grimy, but you don't really notice it. Then they finally said, we were living on rent. There was 5 of us in a 2-bedroom apartment, right? And they finally saved up enough to buy a little townhouse in Saga.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So then we hit their Credit View in Eglinton. No, not this one wasn't Credit. This is like Highway 10 in Eglinton area.
Okay.
Yeah, in between Highway 10 and
Yeah,
Vegas on Eglinton.
So
That's where I met the
Xavier-
crew.
Xavier
Yeah,
area.
that's Xavier.
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
Yeah, that's Xavier.
Yeah.
We had a little hiatus in Burlington too.
Really?
Yeah, so we sold the house, came to Burlington. I went to I was supposed to go to M.M. Robinson.
That's so
Yeah, yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah,
I had a little hiatus in Oakville for a year,
yeah.
but it was different.
Yeah, it was different.
Once
man.
you came out here, it was different. It was like
different, dude.
I had to go back.
Yeah. So here, then I went to Sir Ernest McMillan, and then we head back to Saga because me and my brothers were like, we can't deal with
That's
Burlington. bro. Not back then, right?
No,
Because
no.
all our friends were Saga.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Saga was fun.
How old were you when you moved into the townhouse?
I would say that's like about grade 7, grade 8.
Grade 7, yeah.
Yeah, grade 7.
And then when did you move to Burlington?
Yeah, grade 8. We were just for like a year. We
In
did
high school in Burlington?
Yeah, 2 years.
In
No, we drove to Applewood.
Oh.
Yeah, because we knew we were gonna move back.
Okay.
So me and my older bro just got his license.
Yeah.
We would drive to Applewood.
So even though you lived in Burlington, you still drove
yeah,
to
yeah,
school
yeah,
in Saga. You
It
could
was like 6 months, whatever.
Yeah.
But it was fun, man.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we did that. Then I went to Streetsville. Then public school was not for me, and I wasn't for them.
Yeah.
So they're like, get out of here. So I started going to Catholic school.
Yeah.
And I went to Xavier, which was awesome. So grade
Oh,
11,
okay.
12 in OAC, I went to St. Francis Xavier. Yeah, that was fun too.
It's cool.
Yeah.
I
Got
did-
my act together.
I
and,
did
yeah.
summer school in Xavier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good school, man.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah. That was a good school because at that time, I think that was one of the first schools that looked like the way it did.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they had this awesome facility when it was brand new.
Yeah. Is there anything that kind of happened to you, like you went through in those younger ages that kind of really helped build your character?
Everything, man.
Everything.
So many things.
Yeah. Anything
Yeah.
specific?
What do you want to know, man? You want to know business, life? Yeah,
Just
Yeah,
anything that was
I-
like an impactful moment that really kind of impacted your character.
Yeah, there's I think there's so many moments there that really gave me that sales edge today
Mm-hmm.
of being independent, figuring out my own way. Remember I told you there's a yin and yang? Like I didn't, bro, I got 0 credits in grade 10.
Mm.
How do you do that?
Mm.
My son's in grade 10 right now, he's in the honor roll. I always skipped school, I never went to school. I was
Yeah.
hanging out with a weird crowd.
Yeah.
Good people,
Yeah.
but like we're always skipping school, going to other people's school, getting in fights and doing
Yeah.
all these silly things. So I learned to be independent real quick.
Mm.
I learned my like situations really quickly, where I need to be, where I don't need to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think that really helped me in today just to really be myself.
Yeah.
You know, like some people even, you know, in certain ages, they still are finding themselves. I found myself out really quickly because when you're in situations, you know what you're good at, what you're not good
Yeah.
at. Specifically, and then I got into, when I got into grade 11, here's one thing that changed my life. I started dating a girl. She was 1 year older than me. And we started dating for a couple years. And I would say she's somebody that impacted my life positively.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, wait, you're a smart guy, man. What are you doing hanging around with all these chumps, pretty much,
Mm-hmm.
right? So bro, when I started trying school, I had like a 92 average.
Mm-hmm.
I just never showed up to class before that. So then I started pumping up my average. So that was a good lesson for me where I was saying, okay, when you apply yourself, you got the skills. If you show up and you do the work, you're gonna be at the top 10%.
Yeah.
So then I ended up going to university and getting a good, you know, grades to get into U of T in York and all that fun stuff.
So it was a relationship that maybe helped you kind of go a little bit in a
Dude, it's
different
always-
direction.
it's always a
It's always a relationship. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
It
always-
doesn't have to be with a relationship of, you know, a significant other.
Yeah.
It could be a relationship of guys,
Yeah.
boys,
Yeah.
or friends.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Dude, it's always that person that's like, that's why when we were talking about mentorship and coaching, it's so important
Yeah.
because it's
And-
always that person that sees more in you.
Yeah. And you always say like putting yourself in the right room. So whatever relationship it is, it's like if you're in the wrong room, right?
I got
That's-
goosebumps, bro.
that's it.
You want to know my tip that you asked me
Yeah.
before? That's what I learned.
That's it.
Get in the right room.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you're a good person in the wrong room, you're screwed.
I find that like back in those days, it was hard to get in the right room because it wasn't available. Like, you know what I mean? Like nowadays, you got social media. You can reach out to somebody. You got like a lot of people are doing a lot of different things that are very accessible, I find.
I think it was
Like if you're in that environment, like
Yeah,
you know what
I
mean?
agree with
Yeah.
you, and I'm kind of trying to break it down. I think we know we live in a melting pot right now, right?
Yeah.
There's so many different cultures. Like in the GTA, you can get any type of food that you want.
Yeah.
But that when I was in high school, and that was the melting pot when all these different immigrants are coming into the country, and their parents are out there working in factories. You people that are from Europe, enemy, Poland, Italy, India, Africa, we're all here, bro,
Yeah,
right?
100%.
So, but the thing is, they're all migrated here. So the parents, they weren't the doctors, the lawyers, and all that stuff, dude. They were working in factories.
working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were the blue collar workers, right, in the factory. So we're always home alone, people like us. So
Or on the street.
yeah. So then we started vibing with each
That's
other,
it.
right?
Yeah.
So there was nobody watching.
Yeah.
Parents were at work.
That's it.
They didn't even know the rules.
No.
They didn't know when report cards come. There was no email sent from teachers. None of parent-teacher interviews. What the hell was that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It just, you go figure it out yourself. And I think that's the love that we built back in the day with our friends. But yeah, I agree with you. And I think that's
Yeah.
the reason.
That's one of the things like now I'm really like passionate about. Even with like the education system and everything, I think there's a lot of pieces that it lacks in terms of being able to teach the younger generation about credit and mortgages and real estate and
Yeah,
stuff
man.
like that. Like that's like if there's any purpose or most important thing for me, it's like that. It's like being able to like go back to the young Rick or the young the young Robert and just give them some of those tips and playbooks. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because I feel like but I do think it's a different day now and it's more accessible and you can get that and
Your
and
voice can spread quicker.
yeah 100%.
Yeah, which is good. And I like what you're saying there, and I'll kind of sum it up in one word. It's contribution. And you were talking about mentors earlier and stuff. You do have mentors. You just don't see them because you have
100%.
mentors in the books you read,
Yeah.
in the audibles you listen to, right? Those are very important. When you
100%.
start breaking down what a lot of these successful people, however you define success, are saying, I thought it was a lie because back in the day when I didn't have money and I used to listen to these audiobooks and read these books, that person would always say, hey man, now I just want to help people. Like, well, what are you talking about? Back in the day, what do you mean you want to help people, man? Like, is that the sauce? Is that what I got to say to get rich? And they'd all say it, now I want to help people. But now fast forward to where I'm at right now, I understand them
You
completely.
can't really do it unless you've helped yourself.
Yeah,
and
because
at
the
that
more
point,
you contribute,
you gotta
can't
help
do it
yourself
until you
first,
help
yeah.
yourself. You nailed it. And then once you help yourself, you actually do, like to your point, you actually want to help others. And the funny part is, the more you actually lead from contribution and wanting to help others, the more successful you get.
Yeah.
Even though you don't want it, you're not doing it for money anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you do anything before real estate? Like after your and then you went to
Accounting.
university? Oh, that's right, accounting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
saw
was an
that.
accountant,
Yeah.
bro. I was actually a property accountant. I
Yeah.
worked at Oxford Properties.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were managing, doing the budgets and all that. That's how I would learn my commercial real estate, man. Yeah, so I was heading all those big buildings like First Financial Place, TD Towers. I was doing the accounting for all of those. Yeah.
Did you go to university for accounting?
Yeah.
That's amazing because I talked to a couple like entrepreneurs and like that's where they started too. It's like they had that accounting. Do you
Yeah.
think that was like a big impact on just like doing your business, running your business, and
Yeah.
that's huge, eh?
Yeah.
I think it's a really critical piece.
Big.
Yeah.
You need to know the numbers.
You need to know the numbers.
I love numbers. Bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
so when it came to that commercial piece, I mean, now, like, you don't have to go so far into accounting, but learning the basics of accounting, like your balance sheet, your income system, EBITDA, all that stuff, that's business, right? So I can calculate that and know how that works. That helps for sure. So when you're looking even at properties, it's numbers, man. Accounting makes you a numbers person. And just even, I know how to, like, I can, even mortgages, how that works, right?
Yeah.
And it all makes sense. How, the bond market is affecting the fixed rates and, prime is affecting, like, the variable. It's, all that stuff counts into accounting. The other thing I really love, dude, the best grade I ever got in university and in high school was economics 101,
Yeah.
bro. I just didn't know what to do with it back then.
Yeah.
But I loved economics.
You know
Like, when
what?
the first time I saw the demand and supply chart, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if there's anything that if somebody doesn't know what they want to do, it's like go in accounting, because like it's not about being an accountant,
Yeah.
but that fundamental, I think, no matter what you do in business, I think it has a huge impact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I did love economics, dude, now that
Yeah.
I'm thinking back.
Yeah,
Economics is everything.
it's everything.
Learning, especially
Yeah.
for realtors like us.
Yeah, it's everything. I mean,
Learning-
anything, any business.
Any
like
business.
My buddy, he has a food business. And
Yeah.
he had that, but like he's been able to be super successful because he just was able to make sense. Like
Yeah.
the margins on tomatoes and stuff. He was
Yeah,
figured it out.
Yeah, I'm going back to my younger self now because I remember I'm thinking like this. What do like when you get an economics degree? Like, what can you do?
Yeah. The last thing
Can
you
you
want to be
become
is an
economist?
accountant.
Yeah.
The last thing you want to do is be an accountant
Yeah,
because
yeah,
that's
yeah.
kind of boring.
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
think fundamentally having that background.
No, counting I was getting, but I was talking about economics.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you can get what do you become with an economist?
You got economists, yeah.
Yeah.
They make predictions and
Yeah.
they're like wrong 80% of the time, but
Become like a psychic.
Yeah.
Interest rates are going
Yeah.
down. Brah, they just went up 10 times.
that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you were in production,
Mm.
and like obviously you've been licensed for 18 years,
Dude,
give or
almost,
take.
yeah, 20,
Almost 20?
like 19 now.
Like at the peak of your production, what would you say was like the one thing that you really did that was kind of the reason why you were doing so well? That's it.
Bro,
Anything like
like a machine.
explain it, like what is it like? just-
So when I
was it a CRM?
so I'll-
was it no CRM? Was it like specific
no, I wasn't
strategy?
organized. That's the thing that I wasn't good at.
Yeah.
But what got me far is my work ethic. So I would just have like a book, write down things, and then I finally got Top Producer. That helped me. I don't know. That was a CRM back in the day. It's still around, but everyone used to.
yeah.
Everyone used to use it back then.
Yeah.
Top Producer, right?
Yeah.
So where I really found my success, dude, was actually, let me work up to it. So when I got into real estate, I asked my broker, hey, listen, man, how do I get successful? He goes, back then, remember the white pages? Put them on the
Scripts?
table, dude. Yeah, the white pages. He goes, start calling. Start calling. Well, what do I say? I go, this is bogus, right? I can't do this, right? Then he goes, start door knocking. Hand these flyers. I did the door knocking. I'm like, nah, this doesn't work, right? So there was a time back then where for sale by owners,
Yeah.
they weren't allowed onto the MLS.
That's right. Yeah.
They had they
There was no like
they
property.
couldn't come
whatever.
on the MLS. You
Yeah,
can
yeah.
only come on the MLS if you were a realtor. Right?
There was no property busters or whatever. There was no like
property guy.
whatever they get those guys. Yeah.
So now what they used to do, they used to start their own websites, like property guys. We know them as Comfree now.
Yeah.
Those guys weren't allowed on the MLS. So they went to court for Competition Act. They won, so they were allowed to list on the MLS, right? But back in the day, dude, I used to call for sale by owners like crazy.
That was a gig, yeah.
And I would just be like, I knew a lot of realtors were calling for sale by owners, though, right? And I would just, I knew that they were motivated to sell, and all I had to do is convince them to sell with me. But the problem was there was a lot of competition because thousands of realtors were doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I found my niche in that. Then what happened was the for sale by owners were allowed to go on the MLS, so that kind of put a dent in my business.
Yeah.
But I didn't let that, I still started calling them. And then my pitch was like, yeah, you can go on the MLS, but whatever, you still need representation. So I crushed it with for sale by owners. Crushed it, absolutely crushed it. So that was my first thing where I did. And then I started getting to the online lead world. That was my second
Yeah.
thing.
And when you were doing the for sale by owners, was there like a certain amount you were hitting a day or like a week, like in terms of some targets?
Like I said, I'm not good at tracking, but I would just
You were
keep
just going
calling.
hard, eh?
I was going
Yeah.
hard, bro.
That's it.
I'd
Just
wake
go
up,
hard. That's
I'd
it.
do my thing.
Yeah.
I've always been like hit the gym, right?
Yeah.
And then back then I didn't have any kids or anything, bro, right? So I would wake up later, hit the gym, be at the office by, now I'm like an early riser, but back then even if I hit the office by 10, 11 o'clock, I make calls till, what do I got to do?
Yeah.
I have no kids, no nothing. So 11 to 2, make some calls.
That's it.
Right? Just crush them. Then go on appointments.
Yeah.
I knew my inventory though, dude. I would be a savage on
Yeah.
inventory.
Were you focused on like a farm or like an area or
Yeah.
Saga? Just
Yeah,
Saga. Yeah.
Saga.
Yeah.
I would know every property in Saga.
Yeah.
Like when Churchill Meadows first came along,
Yeah. I lived in Churchill Meadows.
Yeah, so
we
I
got
locked
that.
in.
Yeah.
Because that was the first new area in Saga back then.
Right,
Remember?
Yeah.
Everything else was old.
We bought our first place
Yeah,
there.
yeah. So I started hammering Churchill. I sold a lot in Churchill Meadows,
Really,
man. Tons in Churchill Meadows.
That was a farm right there. Yeah.
Yeah. That was fun.
Yeah.
And then I would go inspect. Remember back in the day, people used to go inspect properties. So when I would sit with a buyer, I would already know what house. They'll say, hey, I want a semi-detached 3-bedroom. Then I'd be like, hey, Robert, you want to go look at one now? I know exactly which one to take you to.
Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, because I knew my inventory.
Yeah.
Pop you in, take you there.
I think that's huge. Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
So my conversion was really good, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. But my organization got better as I started. I didn't try to get good at that. I just delegated it. So I started taking a piece and I hired my first admin.
Yeah. That's awesome. Did you have any, is there any mentors or like role models that you had throughout your real estate career? Yeah?
Yeah.
Let's give some shout outs.
Yeah, so the first person I started studying was Mike Ferry.
Okay.
He'd just be like, make calls. So I was just getting a lot. I couldn't, back then I couldn't afford coaching.
Yeah.
But I would look at his scripts. He was cool, man. He gave his scripts for free online, so I would start hitting those scripts. I was never a script person, but I just kind of seen what other people were doing. I liked speaking from the heart.
Yeah.
Anytime I would start reading a script, I came off like robotic, right?
Yeah.
So, and then the coach that I stayed for with the longest was Craig Proctor. Yeah, I joined Craig Proctor because he ripped it in Ontario, right, in Newmarket.
Mm-hmm.
So now he had this coaching program, like, this guy's from my area, but a lot of people from the U.S. were coaching with him.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the coaching program I stayed at the longest. And that's where I learned a lot of systems and things like that, yeah. Anybody
like in the real estate brokerages you were working at, or any like brokers or anything like that really kind of supported?
Brokers can't teach you nothing, man.
That's it.
Yeah, I'm teaching them.
Yeah.
Yeah, like most broker owners are failed realtors, man.
Yeah.
Like, why would you open up a brokerage?
Yeah.
There's no money in it, bro.
Yeah.
There's no money in it.
Yeah.
Like, let's say you have 100 agents in your brokerage. Only 10% of them are producing, probably. 90% you're babysitting. Mm-hmm. And the 10% that are really good, they want like crazy splits. Mm-hmm. Now you're stuck with turning on the lights, paying your franchise fee. I did the numbers on a brokerage, right? Unless it's a generational brokerage, and there's some broker owners out there that are absolutely killers. I'm not talking to them because there is successful people in anything that you do that are doing it on a high level.
Yeah.
Few and far in between, though.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah, we'll get into the brokerage model a little bit.
Yeah.
Was there any point in your career where you kind of had an aha moment in terms of, just kind of getting to a certain point where, let me rephrase that, hold on. Yeah, is there any moment throughout your career that you had like a significant aha moment or turning point in terms of how you looked at the business?
Yeah. 2020 when I joined EXP.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
1,000%.
Tell me about it.
That was my biggest aha moment.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah. So here I was crushing real estate. I started a team. I joined coaching. And one thing I will credit Craig Proctor for, anybody that's watching this, he knows how to build a team, right? So I went on to the highest level of coaching, was a titanium coaching. And I remember the day that I was like, oh shit. Coach stood up, won't mention his name, but I respect the guy. At the titanium, it was like only 25 of the top real estate agents in the coaching program. I was probably the worst out of the 25 back then, but I was in the room. And he said what he needed to say, and he said one line at the end. He's like, you guys, at best, you got to work. Okay, so what he goes, now you got to start working on the business, not in the business. Mm-hmm. So the goal was to get out of production, right? Cool. But you're only after a 20% gross profit, at best, is what he said. My heart went from my chest to my stomach. I'm like, so if I make $1 million, I'm keeping 200,000?
Yeah.
It's not for me. Mm-hmm. So with that team model, I still did it, but I was still producing. Let's take you to 2020 when I met Jay Kinder and he told me about EXP, he read my mind. He's like, Rick, your team model, I did it. And I was number 2 in the world at Coldwell Banker, okay? Your best agents are gonna leave you. You're stuck with agents that are not gonna call the leads. At best, you're at a 20% gross profit. And guess what? January 1st, you have to start all over at 0.
Yeah.
Let me show you a better way. Boom, popped on a call with him. During the call, he's like, boom, popped on a Zoom with him. He showed me his rev share check. That was my aha moment.
Yeah.
I go, what? I go, wait a minute, dude. You're making that a month? It was $100K back then. It was $96,000. I remember the check, right? It was $100K that month. I go, you made that month, Jay? He's like, yeah, and my projections are gonna go up way higher. He showed me his projections. It did go higher because I've been with EXP for 3 years. Now he's at $500,000 a month. He 4 or 5x'd his check. But anyway, I asked him, I'm like, okay, explain to me the model. Are you gonna help me get there if I have questions? Is this shit for real? I'm in, signed up. Bro, there is no way. Because anything in life, you have to understand, gets disrupted. And one day even maybe EXP will get disrupted. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right? But we would be crazy to the fact to understand that there's Netflix out there. There's no more Blockbuster. Nobody's taking taxis and everybody's taking Ubers. We have to be crazy as realtors and not to do our homework in this company.
Yeah.
Man, that rev share thing is a real thing.
Yeah.
Because it grows, it compounds, right?
Yeah.
One day without you, it's building your exit strategy and you're not starting at 0. Jay went from 100K a month to 400 or 500 a month.
Yeah.
He didn't do much because the company started growing with him.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
That was my aha moment. I'm like, what am I doing, man?
Was it an easy decision?
It was hard for me to do the homework because people were reaching out to me for 1 year to watch this stupid EXP video, right? I never watched it.
Yeah.
Once I finally did my homework, it was an easy decision. I grabbed the whole team. We were a top 1% team at Roy LePage, right?
Yeah.
In that place. We always were top 1 or 2%, either red diamond or chairman or diamond or whatever. I can't remember that. But so my broker was like, man, you leaving? I'm like, yeah, I'm leaving. And you should really look at this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was.
The ignorance is crazy.
Yeah.
In terms of like, I remember when I got licensed and I thought I did a good job of due diligence. And for me, it was like, I wanted to do my own thing. I wanted to do New Street. I wanted to, do my own thing. And I was just looking at brokerages that would basically give me the best platform to do my own thing where, the lowest cost for me and then not really implicating my business so I could just kind of build. And it was probably not the right approach because, obviously a lot of people say like joining a top producing team or brokerage with certain resources is probably a better route when you're getting going. But just with my marketing background, that was kind of my approach to it. And I remember, this was like 7 years ago, I went to EXP Realty and on the website and I was looking at it and I kind of I probably gave it about 5-10 minutes, and I kind of pushed it away, and that was like 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And I ended up going with Right at Home because just whatever I thought it was just practical. And then 2 years later, the president from EXP moved to Right at Home. So he's been with Right at Home now for the last 5 years or so, and he came from EXP. And I remember the week or first month he was there, I booked the meeting with him in Don Mills. I sat down with him and he just came from EXP to Right at Home, and again, kind of just thought about EXP, and then for me it was like, what's this virtual brokerage? Like you guys are meeting in this game, there's no offices. It's like you'd ignore it, you push it away. You don't really want. You don't even invest the time to understand it, and now just like look at that ignorance is like, imagine like 7 years ago I made that decision, or 5 years ago I made that decision, or whatnot. Like, it would have been probably wise for me to do some more due diligence and look at it, right?
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, well, you did it and you came over.
But I didn't really.
I'm super excited that you're over, bro. Because
but it really took like meeting somebody like Rob and really sitting down with him for a couple times and really giving it the time of day, because you kind of block it out. It's like, it's I don't know. It just you for some reason it's you don't really.
Whichever way you twist it and turn it, man, you got to give yourself some credit because you did your homework. Now, Once you do your homework, do whatever you want, man. It's not for everybody. I never once said it was.
Yeah.
Some people drive Ferraris, some people Lamborghini, some people like red, some people like green. I don't know.
Yeah.
But at least research it.
Yeah.
What drives me crazy is like, hey, man, you have your real estate license.
Yeah.
Your real estate license. And you're gonna ignore this whole thing that's happening, the biggest thing that's happened in real estate since Keller Williams, since Remax.
Yeah.
Now you're gonna ignore
100%.
this whole big third wave. Don't do that. Learn about it. Come, don't come. Who cares? So that's exactly what I tell people.
Yeah.
I'm like, listen, you have your real estate license. You owe it to yourself to do your homework.
Yeah.
I don't care what you do after that.
Yeah. 100%. And I was like certain that I was going to open my own brokerage, and that was kind of like where I wanted to go. But again, it's like once you just do the homework and you look at the business model and how it, the value, I always put it in two things: value and people, right?
Yeah.
So it's like if I was gonna go and build my brokerage, like
I'm laughing. I'm so glad you didn't build your brokerage, man.
Bro, I spent a couple years on a brokerage model.
Yeah.
It's a solid model, but
Yeah.
when I looked at what EXP offers, and I said, hey, can I bring this type of value to my people? And
I'm gonna debunk the brokerage model in 1 second.
Yeah.
Here it is, right? I open up a brokerage right here. Let's say this is my brokerage in Burlington. Okay, cool. Rick Dhillon Realty, or let's say it's even a big franchise. Okay, I'm basically hitting up realtors in a 25 kilometer radius. Because there's another franchise just like this in Oakville, in Mississauga, in Vaughan. Bro, when you do an EXP, you're a global.
Yeah.
I have agents in Vancouver, in Florida. Like,
yeah.
How does that even, why would anybody even think about opening up a brokerage? You know why? I'll tell you why. And people don't want to know this.
EGO.
Nailed it.
That's
Ego.
it. That's it.
My name needs to be on
That's
there.
it.
Bro, there's a line from my man Tupac. I won't do the swearing, but it's basically, hey, don't worry about the fame, get that money, right?
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, and you will become more famous even with this brokerage if that's what you're after. If you're after clout, you want to be in the right room.
Yeah. Okay. I've obviously seen you on stage a couple times, and I've heard you say, that you were kind of an underachiever in your past, and now you've kind of got to a point where you're an overachiever. Is there anything specific that you're like really proud of that you've accomplished?
Business? Like I'm more, okay, so
Anything, man.
here, let me tell you the thing that
Whatever's
I'll
important to
loop
you.
it, I'll loop it all in, right? So these are I'm very proud of the fact that I didn't let success dictate my life in one pillar. Let me explain. I met a lot of people in life, and I'm not comparing myself to them. I made a decision a long time ago to be consistent, okay, in my pillars. I met some people that have a lot of money, but that's all they care about their whole life, and they're like overweight, no one in love, and they have all this money, which is cool. I've always said, look, I want, first and foremost, I want health. My second pillar is amazing relationships in my life, surrounding myself with people like you, my wife, my children, right? Business, and then spirit. Okay, the spirit part I finally am, that was probably my lowest pillar. Now it's becoming one of my highest, right? I want to be successful in all of that. So one thing that I can say that I'm very proud of, which is hard for me to say because we're humble people, but when I'm looking at myself from the outside in, and I'm looking at myself as a third person, I'll be that Rick guy is very balanced. He spends time with his relationships, and he makes money, he works on his health, and he contributes to others and works on his spirit.
Yeah.
I feel like that balance is something that I am super proud of, and it's probably my greatest accomplishment.
It's difficult, if not impossible, to do that as a realtor.
Yeah, it's hard, man. It's hard, but I'm doing it, and you can do it.
But do you think you'd be able to do it without the infrastructure of kind of the brokerage?
Not gonna lie, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I think this is something beyond any brokerage. It's just an intention that you put yourself, because I could be, there's a lot of people at EXP that are unhealthy and have no love in their life and no spirit, and I'm not judging them, so I can't credit that to the brokerage. I think that comes down to your soul and your what you really want.
Yeah.
And it's hard. So the reason why it's hard for realtors is because there is only 24 hours in a day.
That's what I'm saying.
So
yeah.
if my goal,
if you want to hit a certain GCI or an income, like you're out there 12 hours a day. You know what I mean?
I was that guy.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Well, revenue share helps, man.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting at. It's
But
you know,
but I'm also,
would you be able to be as balanced without you know, if you were grinding out there for 10 hours a day?
But not everybody's going to hit that level of revenue share. So I don't want to make that mistake either, right? And put that false information out there. I think the answer that we're looking for is things that you need to say no to, right? So if I want relationships in my life, I say no to fantasy football. I say no to watching every football game. I say no to going to bars at night with my boys, right? Those are some things that I can live without. I'll make a balance for that too. But you know, I'm lucky to have all my friends in this brokerage, but I'll spend that time with my family and my kids and my wife, you know? When it comes down to business, this is the hard one. As a realtor, maybe you have to say no to that $2 million GCI and settle for that $1 million. You might have to, right? Maybe you would have to say no to the $1 million and settle for that 500,000. You actually have to make I've done that. I've made a conscious decision in my life where I'm like, you know, I will forgo money to buy my time back. I'm not going to chase money so much that I'm going to give up time for those other three things. Like, if you tell me, hey, Rick, you can never go to the gym again and work out and you know, you're going to get divorced and not see your kids and not have friends in your life that you love, but I'm going to make you a multi-billionaire, I'll say no to that in a heartbeat. Some people won't, and that's okay. I'm not judging them. But the answer to that is you got to know what you want out of life. If you're chasing that billion and it's not coming from this, you know, the lotto or some fluke thing, and you have to work towards that, and you're willing to give everything else up, then that's your soul contract, and that's you're okay. Maybe you're meant to do that. That's not what I'm meant to do. I'm meant to live a balanced life, showcase that to the world, and inspire others to do the same.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay, what is what's cracking in the future? Like, what's going on? What's Rick 3 years down the line look like? What's the plan? What's the plan?
Future looks bright.
I know, man. But what
future is this too. So
give me some.
So the future is to. So now it's funny, right? Now that I build this organization, the organization in itself brings other opportunities. So I'm getting opportunities from corporate because I built such a big organization in the country. I'm getting opportunity within the organization themselves. There's an opportunity right now to build one of the best real estate teams in the country just because of the organization, and totally flipping that whole real estate team idea on its ass, totally reversing it.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, so instead of going after like, a top real estate team usually wants to get top realtors, let's say at a 50-50 split, to go ahead and keep them in so they can go. The best leads go to your best agents usually, right? That's how a team would work. Well, in the modern model, which I'm finding and which we're trying to create, is you can actually build this amazing real estate team helping agents that aren't producing, keeping them in for just a very short period of time, let's say 4 or 5 deals, and then letting them go. But because you're getting an agent a day right now that are joining your organization, that flux of deal flow is going to be huge. That's a whole different podcast. So that's one thing that we're working on. And then really focusing in and zoning in on other things that you can help on, because once you build an organization, you want to make that organization bigger. So we make that rev share bigger. Because right now for me, I want to make that rev share bigger because it's going to do 2 things. It's going to give me more money with less time so I can work on my other pillars that I was talking about. But it's gonna help me lead from contribution.
Yeah.
So it's not about me anymore. Because if I'm going and selling real estate, it's all about me. But when I'm helping others sell real estate, I'm changing their lives. I'm getting text messages. Thank you, Rick. Little simple things like you and I can do, hop on a phone call and just help people out, right?
Yeah.
So you're leading from contribution. But you know what? The third thing, the intangible thing that I didn't realize that's happening is you're building your personal brand. Because you're helping so many people, these people are leveling you up in building your personal brand. So once you build your personal brand, you're getting more speaking gigs, which might lead to books, which might lead to, who knows?
Yeah.
So that's kind of I think when you zone in and you're really doing what you're meant to do, other things open up. And when you build a bigger community that EXP allows you to do, other things open up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, I think people sometimes don't realize the opportunities in real estate as a realtor, right? Like, it's always about the deals, it's always about the grind, but, you know, you're kind of living proof that there could be so much more to it, you know, and so much more opportunities if you know, if you're looking at maybe building out a brokerage. So you've grown the organization to 400 people, give or take. For like other brokers out there, guys that are maybe running their own brokerage or, you know, growing a franchise, how do you get to that many agents? Like what do you think it was that really, you know, was a key factor? Because that's not easy.
2 factors.
Tell me.
Me and what I bring to the table as a leader. That's very hard for me to say. I worked on myself in terms of even being able to say that, because that comes from humility. That comes from being grateful to the fact that I've grown to that person. And just as important is the model.
Yeah.
If me and you have a quarter-mile race and you're driving a Civic and I have a Ferrari, I'm gonna smoke you. I'm gonna smoke you. Dude, this is just the beginning. If we're running a 100-meter dash, right? We're on the 5-meter line right now.
Yeah.
So these 400 agents, and there's other brokerages out there that might have that. Bro, my 400 agents are growing my company. You're one single person. Yeah, you might be at 400, but you're getting people one by one. I got a 400-person army, bro. I'm gonna get to 4,000. Then what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
My model's better. We're out, like when people are saying, like right now, people might be thinking, yeah, Rick, I got 400.
Yeah.
Cool. And I'm not in competition with them. I want them to do their homework.
Yeah.
Right? But dude, we're only on a 100-meter race.
Yeah.
We're only in 5 meters, bro.
That's it.
Yeah, this company just started.
Yeah.
I grew this 400 in COVID. And now in this market where these interest rates, dude,
Yeah.
we're just getting started.
Yeah.
So meet me at the 50-meter mark, right? Where you might have 200-300, and now I'm at 2,000-4,000.
Yeah.
And now I have a 3,000 person army growing it. Guess what? Ready for this? Your opportunity is in a 25-kilometer radius. Maybe let's break that out to GTA. Let's break it out to Ontario. Now you're buying franchises everywhere. Well, you're dishing out so much more money. Money is not an obstacle for me. I can grow anywhere. I don't have to spend $300,000 and brick and mortar on top of that and salaries on top of that. I could grow way faster.
Yeah.
Even if you're growing in the GTA, bro, I'm growing in Vancouver, I'm growing in Florida, I'm growing in Texas. There's no competition, man.
Yeah.
The model's better. I chose to drive. I cheated. You're like, let's.
It's true. I never thought of it as a Ferrari and Civic, but it's exactly
I
that.
cheated, bro.
Because when you look at any, you know, and I was just thinking through my head of like any independent brokerage out there, you know, for them to reach 400, you know, I don't think there's anybody that would be able to do that in 3 years. Like there's brokerages that have been around for decades.
Not in Canada, not during COVID.
Yeah. But even like whenever it's you know, there's brokerages that have been around for decades that, you know, maybe lower than those numbers, and yeah, and just I think growing it to be there's a lot of franchises and brokerages that are in the 200-400 zone that have been around for decades.
I cheated,
and you're 3 years deep, and
found a better model.
That's
man.
it.
Yeah, that doesn't. It's me and then the model, and giving up my ego to just understand that, hey, this thing is big, where is that going to grow to using that? And you don't know what the future holds, man. Like, yeah, it's EXP now, but like I'm saying, like, don't forget about that personal brand that it's helping you build. Like, they're propelling you. When you help so many people, right? Like, I got love for you because you've helped grow the brokerage. We talk, play basketball together. We're doing this together. I've helped you bring on people. You've helped me. But we're building that bond because we're owners, right? Now multiply that by 400 people that want to help you. What do you think that does for your personal brand? Now people are watching you. My personal brand has never been higher.
Yeah.
My personal brand, and I'm just growing. Like I said, we're still at the 5 meters. Where is this brand gonna be? I'm not even trying to grow it. But because you grow the best example I could give is Arnold Schwarzenegger, bro. Okay? Arnold Schwarzenegger, this is before social media, but let's just say built his brand through bodybuilding. He just became the badass bodybuilder.
Yeah.
So let's take away brand and call them fans in his era, right? So what he did, he got all these fans of bodybuilding that propelled him to acting. He became the #1 actor.
Yeah.
But if he didn't do that bodybuilding, his personal brand wouldn't have went to acting. His acting grew so much. He wasn't the best actor, but he was just the best bodybuilder. Now, he went to politics.
Yeah.
Imagine Dwayne Johnson, who started in the WWE. Those WWE fans propelled him to the #1 star. Bro, if he dropped his hat right now saying, I want to run for president, he's becoming president. Don't forget about that.
The level up.
The level up. And you're not even trying to do it. So when you build a community, so let's equate EXP to WWE and bodybuilding. Now you have a group of realtors that you're helping that are giving you love because you're giving them love that's propelling you. You can do so many other things. Yet these people are just, when I say these people that are ignoring the opportunity, they're not thinking in a big level. Because you know why? Simple. They're not visionaries. They'll go look at it 5 years from now and say, shit, I'm going to start now. But that's just how it is. We're early adapters. Yeah. Anybody watching this right now is an early adapter. You should take this opportunity now, build it, so 5 years from now, you'll be in a very good spot.
Yeah.
Let's go, bro.
Let's go.
Come on. What else is there to do?
That's it. Yeah, it's good, man. Yeah. I'm just thinking about that, like.
Got you thinking, bro. I love it, bro.
I never thought of that Schwarzenegger and Dwayne Johnson flex, but like, yeah, that level up, like what, it's.
How else can you do it?
You got to have the vision. Like, I guess, like, you did you have that vision originally?
No.
Or just kind of.
It happens.
It happens. You
yeah.
got to go through
So I
the
think you
process.
have to be in the present moment. That's hindsight, by the way. That's not vision.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Right? I was just like, when I saw the EXP opportunity, I was all in on that rev share component and building that rev share component. I saw that, and I was very present to that. And other opportunities would come away and be gone, right? Just like, let's say Michael Jordan, when he was playing basketball, he was very present to be the best basketball player. He didn't think about Nike. He didn't think about all these other things. He just wanted to be the best basketball player. But because he became a damn good basketball player, Nike approached him. Then it gave birth to Air Jordan.
Yeah.
Now everyone's wearing Jordans, right? So I think it's very important to answer your question. I don't want to take credit to say this was my plan. I'm getting inspired along the way, because when you're present at something and you start getting good at it, the universe brings you other opportunities.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I love that. Okay, this might be the most important question today, but obviously Legacy League.
Yeah.
Tell me, what does legacy mean to you?
Dude, legacy, what legacy means to me is just pretty much living after death, you know, and it inspiring others to do the same. So to leave a body of work and touch so many people through contribution that you're actually helping others now and when you're gone. So legacy could be writing a book and impacting people. I know 1000% for sure, I'm creating a legacy right now because of all of the realtors I'm helping, the family members that I'm helping, and where things are about to go, right? So legacy is just leaving your mark in the world, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually leaving your mark.
That's it.
Yeah, leaving it all on the floor.
Yeah.
Going without regrets.
That's it. That's amazing, man. I like that. Okay. Any do you see any what are your thoughts on sort of the trends in the real estate market moving forward in Ontario? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's the magic question right now, right? So my personal belief, and I have no I'm not scared to be wrong.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
I think the interest rates are where they are. I think there's a lot of people that can afford things right now, that can buy, that should buy. But it's same thing. People are always looking backwards after, right? There's opportunity right now. You know and I know that we have a supply issue. And when this thing starts turning and burning, we're going to be back in the same friggin' spot. Now, where do I see things going? I think early next year. Right now, they're trying to kill the market. By they, I mean like the quotas are met. Nobody wants to lend money.
Yeah.
Because they don't know, they're not sure about property values. So there needs to be, sellers really need to understand that property values are down. Okay?
Yeah.
So now the movement here, if you're a realtor looking for opportunity for your buyers, hit lowball offers, man. You know, hit lowball offers, because the sellers need to understand that, look, this is not the market anymore. Your house is sitting on the market for 100 days. Yeah, I know it like just adjust. So that price adjustment needs to happen. And the way it's going to happen right now is the lowball offers, because sellers are not learning their lesson. For me, when I look at the way they're listing their houses, then there's going to be some kind of new price. Here's what I think. Here's my prediction. I said I'm not afraid to be wrong. I think now next year, at the end of the day, money. We're sitting in November right now, so the banks have met their quota. Lenders have met their quota. Private money is friggin' through the roof. It's huge right now.
Yeah.
If you're a private lender, you're banking, right?
Yeah.
I think at some point early next year, they're going to increase the amortization. They're going to bring that 40-year amortization back. So that way your affordability is going to be the same. So instead of like, amortizing over 25 years, the interest rates are going to stay where they are, because I think like a 5% interest rate is balanced.
Yeah.
It should be at the 4, 5, 6 is high. I like that 4 to 5% interest rate. That's where it should be.
Yeah.
Because, lenders got to make money too. But I think what they will do, they'll extend that amortization rate, which will pump buyers back into the economy. And now prices go back up. Yeah. They're going to go back up, because at the end of the day, we have a supply issue. So if you're a buyer out there, go buy some properties. Yeah. This is the time to, this is what you've been waiting for.
That's what we've been waiting for a decade, yeah.
Yeah, that's what you've been waiting for. Yeah. Now the problem becomes, Robert, is like, we try to time it. Yeah. When it's gonna really hit the bottom. Yeah. The only time to figure out when it hits the bottom is when it starts creeping back up to the top. Yeah. Exactly. What do you think?
I think you're spot on. I think fundamentally, like, we have the supply issue, right? Like, it's just not enough housing. We know there's a certain population, there's certain people, certain immigration that's coming. So fundamentally, and like the builders aren't building anything. So like, I think there's an opportunity to buy right now. It's been around for a while. Yeah. I don't know how long that window is gonna be. It could be another year. It could be more. Yeah. It could be just until spring, like, you know what I mean? It could be like spring, like, spring.
Look out for it, man. Yeah, it's going to be the amortization play.
Yeah.
And
things could change.
Maybe getting rid of the stress test too.
Yeah, things could change fairly quickly. I feel like this government has been, they just do these things to do what they want to do, right? It's like, it's all kind of manipulated, right? Like, this market would be thriving if all these interest rates didn't happen, if they didn't implement certain things. And as soon as they say, oh, okay, this is what we want to do now it's, this has gone too far. Like you said, amortization, stress test, whatever it is, those changes, and it can make a big impact
Yeah.
in terms of where things go. So yeah.
Well, when we understand how money works, right? We have to understand that a lot of money was printed. Like COVID was a thing, dude. Right? So when you print all this money, you give it away.
Yeah.
Okay? So you inject the economy with all this extra money. That money is going to go somewhere. Where is it going to go? Businesses, consumers. Consumers are spending more. Therefore, businesses are making more. Because businesses are making more, banks are lending them more. The economy is thriving. Interest rates are low, so people are lending, people are making more money, they can qualify for more money, it's all fun. Boom. Now what happens? It's the downturn. Whatever goes up has to come down, man. Now it's because people are making less, consumers are making less, that means businesses are making less. Because businesses are making less, they can borrow less. Now that values of assets are going down, as realtors, we know them as real estate, but a lot of assets are going down, then what happens? Lenders are more afraid to lend because they don't know if their money is good anymore. That property that was $1 million might be 800,000, so they're lending less. So the opportunity right now is in the private sector, right? To make up that gap between what banks are doing and what people need. So now I see this still going on for a little while, right? This doesn't happen overnight. Like people are going to be tight, consumer confidence is going to be low, and banks are not going to lend as highly, and they're okay with that. That's why they jacked up the interest rates. And the reality is, the absolute reality is, they want to bring house prices down, and they need to come down to hit that affordability equilibrium. Everything else would be a cheat. As an investor, this is not easy for me to say, but values of properties in the GTA need to come down. They do. So that equilibrium of affordability can happen, because if you do it any other way, like increase the amortization, that has to be a forever play then. Right? You can never go decrease it like they did before. That needs to be a forever play. Like leave that alone. If that's the way you're going to fix affordability, leave that alone, because give people 40 years to pay it off. Because if you bring that back to 25, then you're causing this whole thing again.
It's pretty crazy if you think about all the different changes in the last 5 years, from the time they brought it down to 25, 25 years a while ago, but then stress test, like the government's just been manipulating the real estate market for all this whole time in different ways. Like we had the little dip in 2017, and now this is like, it's like it's they said the interest rates aren't going to go up, and then they went up drastically. So at the end of the day, the way I look at it is there's a lot of manipulation and a lot of different like factors, but fundamentally it's like there's a supply issue, right? So it's like that in 10 years, it's the values are going to go up, right?
Oh, 1,000%, man. 1,000%. And inevitably, this had to happen.
And I agree with you. I think the prices do have to come down.
When you inject that much money into a marketplace, you don't think inflation is going to go up? They knew this. The only way to battle inflation is to increase interest rates. When you have way more money in the economy that needs to be there through the printing of money, there's a lot of stuff going on, dude. Like when you look at outside North America, there's some powerhouses that are trying to unite $1, take down the American dollar. There's a lot of cool stuff. We can talk about that all day.
There's a lot of stuff going on right now.
We've got to open our eyes and really see where the opportunities are. But whenever, that's it's not fear mongering. It's like, hey, open your eyes and look for the opportunities.
A lot of stuff going on right now in the world. Okay, so that's the real estate market in Ontario. Tell me about like the realtor market in Ontario, the brokerage market in Ontario. What do you see happening there in the next little while?
So the real estate brokerage model as we know it is coming to, I don't want to say coming to an end, but as it's coming into a disruption. Let's put it that way, right? As these new models are coming in, EXP is the biggest and the baddest for now. There's other brokerages are copycatting, and really that agent ownership thing is not going to go away. So other people, there's smart entrepreneurs out there, right?
100%.
People outside of EXP, people outside of your Remaxes and your Century 21s, they could be in Amazon, dude. They could be in Tesla watching what's happening. I'm just giving an example. There could be another juggernaut. I don't know. But what I'm trying to say is that franchise brokerage model is at its tail end, because this is just the beginning, right? When you give agent ownership just from coming on, and they can make revenue by helping grow the company, it's just us people that are, wired. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. All these people that have been in the market, those are the ones that are the stubborn ones. But like, let's say my kids wanted to be a realtor. They're not joining a brick and mortar, bro. Why would they?
Yeah.
That's old school. They're gonna say you guys were crazy. That's like life before cell phones, man. You know what I mean? Like, what did you guys do?
Yeah.
Life before TikTok.
Yeah.
That's life before EXP. So that brokerage model is going to take a hit. This is just the beginning. And if I was an investor, pumping money into these brick and mortar franchise models, I would really stop. I would pump the brakes, because you're getting tied into big franchises, and I would start thinking about all these new things that are happening. And because of the marketplace, less realtors are going to leave the business. That's another thing.
Yeah.
By all brokerages, including EXP, are going to take a downturn, because realtors are going to understand that not everybody can sell a house anymore. Cream rises to the top. So when interest rates are high, it just doesn't take a for sale sign and everybody can sell a house. There's going to be a good percentages, call it 20% of the real estate market will be gone. When it comes to realtors, they're gonna have to go do other jobs, because when money's not coming in, you can't put food on the table. That $3,000 or so, $4,000, I can't remember what it is, to keep your license active through all the dues, that becomes a lot. Paying your brokerage monthly becomes a lot. Right? So they're gonna just exit the industry. So there's an opportunity for those. This is not my thing, but if you're a brokerage and you want to open up a brokerage that just parks licenses, bro, there's a big opportunity right there, man. You're gonna have 20,000 agents parking their
100%.
license for like $100 or $50 a month. There you go, free tip. Go
That's
do it.
Yeah. That's smart. No, it's true.
Yeah.
And I think right now it's like, it's either the brokerage models that actually make sense is like the super, super, super low fee ones.
Yeah.
And I guess what you're saying is, if the brokerage doesn't have a component of ownership for the agent, and a component of generating revenue through growth for the agent, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. And your brands are still going to be around, right? Like your Remaxes. That Remax is a great brand. Yeah, I used to love that brand when I was a part of Remax, right? So that's a brand that's out there, but like, who's really building that brand? It's entrepreneurs like me and you that buy a Remax franchise. I'm talking to the entrepreneurs that are pumping up that brand. At the end of the day, you're pumping up one brand or another. People say, hey, you guys are pumping up at EXP, but I'm just saying, at least I don't have to get stuck in this big contract, right? Buy a franchise, have all this overhead to pump up EXP. At the same thing, you're pumping up another brand, be it Century 21, Royal Page, or Remax, but you just have to pay for it. So my advice is to that entrepreneur that is thinking about doing that, really do your homework. Because here's what I'm getting at, brother. As a high achiever, anybody that's watching this as a high achiever, you go from a solo agent, and then as a solo agent, your next thing is you want to build this team.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yes, sir.
And then as you build the team, once you're in there, you start, I don't want to say it's a higher level, probably right beside it. Some people say, let's do a brokerage. What I'm saying is there's another option on the table, and study that option. Because, once you're in the game and you're just doing your work, you're just so in do mode that you don't understudy other options. So my advice is to all the entrepreneurs out there that are reaching that threshold where it's like, what's next? Do your homework on what we're doing here at EXP.
Yeah. The one of the big things that I really love about EXP is the fact that, like, from day one, you have the same opportunities as Rick Dhillon has. Like, from day one, you know what I mean? It's like, you don't have to go through that whole process and invest X and, sign this or sign that or go through this process or buy a franchise. It's, you literally have And that was one of the big things for me. It's like, how can I give this opportunity to my agents, right?
Yeah.
And you know, it doesn't exist, number one. And then even if you wanted to recreate it, like you know, and I'm sure it's gonna happen. There's gonna be more recreators, and it's amazing.
100%.
It's amazing because, again, it's like the game is changing. The game is changing, and it's changing for the better in a lot of ways, because now it's becoming more commonplace for agents to get ownership and get all these benefits and on all that. So I think that's a good thing. But yeah, like I thought about recreating that, and I kind of
so did I. We all did,
and it mapped it out. And it's
entrepreneurs.
It's
That's what we do.
When you think about, you know, doing that and then growing that and growing that in the province or the city and then the country and then globally, and you know, there's obviously growth pains that comes with that, right? So
my suggestion is people should come talk to you if they're thinking about that, and really you can, because you're amazing at that. That's one thing I know about you. You're really good at laying things out with your systems and all that stuff, and I know they'll get a very, you know, honest opinion that's not trying to influence them in any way, and just kind of say, hey, look, this is what you're trying to do. I was thinking the same thing. This is what I'm doing. Just come do your homework with Robert and just take a look at it, you know, and then
for me it's all practical, kind of like practical, just looking at it practically and just kind of
you are good at that, man.
Going through that.
Yeah. Weren't you in the new build space too?
Yeah. So that was kind of how I got into real estate, was on the pre-construction side. And so my background was on the marketing. So I had a media agency, but then I got a gig with a builder, and then that was kind of like how I got into real estate. And I said,
wealth of knowledge.
Once I got into that, I was like, damn, okay, you know, we can, you know, we can sell 200 units in one day. That's interesting, through like an effective marketing campaign. Okay, that's pretty cool. So that was kind of how I got into it. But the real reason why I got licensed was because I was only doing the marketing. So when you're doing the marketing, you're only seeing the 50%. So you're doing everything to, you know, build out the campaigns, figure out how to generate leads, and then it's like, boom, and they're kind of like, obviously there's a CRM, you transfer it to the sales team, but you're not going through that sales and service process. So that was one of the big reasons why I actually got licensed and got into real estate, because I wanted to see that whole journey and really, you know, build out like a best-in-class customer journey in terms of that whole process. So not just the marketing side, but also the sales side. But I think ultimately what's happening is there's a lot of changes. Like the market is changing. There's a lot of factors. Now we got Tressa coming out, and Tressa, people don't understand, is going to be big. Right? And you said, like, you know, the amount of agents are going to, you know, be looking for the parking brokerages. So that's happening. The revenue share model and, you know, the ownership model for brokerages is basically becoming the norm. Like all these changes are happening, and I'm a huge fan of like disruption and just improvement. Like what's better for the agent, what's better for the small guys, like what's better for the agent and what's better for the customer, right? And I think a lot of that stuff is happening right now. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting what like how it all comes together. But I think ultimately it's gonna be an environment where you're gonna have a lot more quality representation, a lot more better agents out there in the field, I think, with a lot of these changes.
I'm loving that part. Cream rises to the top, baby.
That's it.
All the time.
That's it, man. Cream rises to the top. All right, my brother. Rick
Thank
Dhillon,
you,
man. That's it.
That was awesome, bro.
Thanks for coming through, bro.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you,
Cream
brother. That
rises
was awesome.
to the top.
Yeah.